You're good.
Hello and welcome to Penny for a Tale. Tonight we are playing episode 47 of our Pathfinder 2nd edition game. This is the Age of Ashes Adventure Path. But before we get into sponsors for tonight's session, let's reintroduce our cast, starting with Jen.
Hello, I'm Jen. I am known as Savage Pharaoh on the internet. Tonight I will be playing the Vesper, and I have an exciting new terrible accent.
Dr. Mr. Smith.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mr. Smith. I will be playing Rune Ravenswood, as I do every week. Hopefully, you won't die. Right, Ian?
Die? No. Sam?
Nobody dies in this game. What? I'm Sam. I'll be playing Aghi, the half-orc barbarian tonight, and yeah, I'm just super excited.
Daniel.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel. I am playing Sailix Lavendale, and it is going to be a great night.
Excellent. And we have James, of course, returning as our guest, Waldorff Skysteel. We'll reintroduce him as our party returns from a fortnight of downtime. But before we get into that and what the party's been up to, I just want to say tonight's session is brought to you by Smiteworks. They are the creators of Fantasy Grounds Unity, which we've used throughout the campaign and we will continue to use. It is exceptional. If you've seen the show before, I absolutely love Fantasy Grounds Unity. Could not recommend it enough. If you're looking for a virtual tabletop, run Pathfinder 2nd edition or a number of other settings, definitely give them a shot. Go to fantasygrounds.com. We're also sponsored by The Only Sheet, which is an Excel-based character management tool for Pathfinder 1st and 2nd edition, as well as Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 and 5th editions. And our music tonight is by Michael Gelfi and Rock Narden. You can find links to their music in the show notes. But let's get into tonight's game. Below, you can see Varys Lavendale. He's at the Citadel. With Aghi, the northern wing is his art studio. It's made out, decorated with all sorts of art supplies. It looks like he's a sculptor. But right now he's painting. I believe where we left off, or where we'll pick up, I should say, Varys has gotten into an argument with Aghi. It's since cooled, but Aghi, you do remember today might be the day you've been waiting for. You have a theory. I don't know if you've told other people about it, but it might be the time to test it. You're in a dress, though. What do you do?
Get out of the fucking dress. I think this painting session's over right now.
All right.
It's up to Varys.
Well, depending on how quickly you're trying to get out of the dress, of course, Varys will agree if you're looking to check on things. But Vesper, where have you gone off to in this Citadel?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess she's probably not too far away. Is this a new day then, or
This is the same day.
Okay.
You will have just spoken to Aghi, I believe.
Okay, because if it's like right after that covers, then she's probably still there. Just if only to make sure.
Yeah.
No one
Yeah.
dies.
Oh no, things are fine. Will has just left. Sailix was here a bit ago, as you could see. Yeah, go ahead.
You have somewhere to be.
Yeah. After I change out of this thing, but Aghi looks away for a second, then back at Vespa. Why don't you come along? Might do you good to see.
Promises, promises. But she'd go.
Aghi, where are you headed?
So she pretty much unceremoniously just like takes the dress off right then and there. She has no qualms about that, but she is not walking around in this thing any longer. And just like walks out of the art studio back to her room for a moment.
Yeah.
Turns like in her normal armor, her hides. And then we'll sort of like walk out of the citadel down into the forest, ways, leading Vesprin with her if she's still following. And finally out onto this outcropping of trees where Vesprin will see Deadmouth chained and tied up, just lying there dead. Kind of unceremoniously will pick him up and throw him over her shoulder. Looks like he stays dead here.
It's away.
I very much feel like just much like me, the player, just has that look of what in the fuck am I looking at?
He sort of started rotting since I brought him here.
Did he not do that in Sagarak?
Sagarak, he fucking came back.
But you said it was, like, dark magics, no?
No, I made a deal with Varys. He's gonna open Jewel Gate and we're gonna take him back. See what happens.
Even after, you tore up his pretty dress.
Aghi, like, mutters
Don't
to
worry
herself
about
for a
it, I'm
moment.
fucking with you.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Are you coming or not?
Sailix. You might have seen them head out away from this citadel to nature, but where are you headed?
Sailix would have probably head back to Sagarak.
Yeah, you'll have no trouble getting through that gate. What part of Sagarak?
I guess he would go to seek out Rune.
It's not hard to find.
Rune, where are you?
If it's during the work day, he is likely at the Guild of Spells, and doing what he can to research, based on what he found out from Raldar anyway.
Right.
Research anything concerning the deep dark, as well as asking around to see if there's any historical or any reference to the portrait.
Interesting. Rune, the wizard. Sailix, the elf. Sailix, you would know to find him probably in the Guild of Spells. People are quite friendly now. If you ask, you'll be told. Wizards to be found there. Do you go there?
Yeah. Pretty much
right.
immediately.
Excellent. So, you arrive. It's just as you remember the facility. It's not known for much, honestly. It keeps modest, despite the reputation of its guildmaster as a legendary abjuration mage. But go ahead.
Sailix just kind of comes in and immediately seeks out room, opening, I guess, whatever door he's behind, hoping that there's not a secondary door to walk through again.
When you go to his room?
No, like into the guild of spells.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he would just kind of find him. Like, so did you find anything else out?
Not really, no. I had a chance to go talk with Raldar from Crestwatch. Gave a bit of information, but nothing really too helpful. As a point of note, on the table is a painting.
Of?
You see clearly Vaz holding hands with Rune, and they're both sort of looking on this scorched earth.
Not touching it. Sailix would take a dagger out of his, like, off of a holster on his calf and kind of tap on Vaz's face. What's this?
One of the spoils from our battle at the Forge. There was a recording from Vaz to, I forgot the bloke's name, the one who had control over Waldorff, asking for this portrait to be taken down. We found it. And what is particularly interesting, as he flips it over, is this. Written on the back, it says Age of Ashes.
Right. So, you'd known about this for a while, apparently. When were you going to plan on telling the rest of us? Or if, everybody else already knows, me?
Well, to be completely honest, only one other person knows. That's only because she was there with me when I found it. And to be completely honest, it hadn't even crossed my mind with the aftermath of the Forge, building your wings out, watching you enter into the plane of shadow, and being very concerned about your sanity post the plane of shadow. The rise or the discovery that the crown was stolen, our subsequent follow-up to try and retrieve said crown, which turned out to be a trap on top that was pierced into the skull of a gigantic fey creature, which we attempted to then redirect creature to Crestwatch, successfully, I might add. Well done on everyone for that one. To be honest, it's just been a little busy.
Oh, that was 2 weeks ago.
Yep, that it was. And there's been planning of an attack to worry about. There's been everyone wanting to talk to me, to ask me questions about Vashimrix or you or the Dreamstone or, just take your pick, really.
Sailix will very tensely put his dagger back into his one strapped to his calf. We'll talk about that later. Right now, have you talked to anybody about evacuating the city?
No, I have not. I thought we might be able to talk to Waldorff together and see if he could leverage his new role as the Forge Master to maybe convince the city to do it. But like I said, I'm not... I mean, this is a city full of dwarves who've lived here for centuries. I don't think any of them are really going to be ready to leave the city.
Right. Well, unless they're all willing to fight, then we're going to need the ones who can't fight. Every city has their sick and elderly. You know how it goes on battlefields. If you're not helping, you're hindering. So, I feel like it's a worthless shot to talk to Dwarf about it anyway.
No, I agree. We should talk to Dwarf, see what we can do. Just not sure. Don't get the hopes up and all that.
Right. Anyway, he'll tap on the painting again. This time with his black crystal gauntlet. You should hide this. Really hide it. Maybe just throw it in the fire, because Aghi, she's not very easy when it comes to trust. If she sees a painting of you holding hands with an enemy, well, the trust that we worked so hard for you to build up with her will go right out the window.
I'm not really sure if she trusts me as it is, but that's fine. I'll hide it.
Right. Let's not make it any more strained.
All right.
All right. So what's on the order of business for today?
Well, we can go talk to Dorf first, see if we can get the initial plan set out of the way. Plus, we need to check on the walls to make sure they've been repaired. They'll be the primary line of defense if the battle gets this far. Aside from that, we haven't had a chance to do much scouting around the church. I forget which part of the city that's called.
The temple.
Yeah, the temple district. I was talking to the Vesperin, I guess. At one point in time during prior to Crustwatch, they'd had a chance to get near the temple, but not to it. Bad vibes and all that. So I don't know how close we can actually get to do much more scouting. I don't feel like waiting for this fight to come to us, to be honest.
Well, if that's the case, let's go grab Dorf and talk about planning an ambush of our own.
There's Romgar standing in the doorway. I've been checking on the walls. They're fine. Pure soul's concerned. Meet me there. Bring Forge Master.
I mean, if you say they're fine, then if you say they're fine, I trust you. I just wasn't sure. I know they were under repair. I wasn't sure what the status was.
He looks at Sailix, remembering everything he had just said about war. Puts on his reading glasses, and with a turn he heads into his study. One of the 4, actually, in this building, for his extravagant ass. But you're headed to Dwarf, then, huh?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. Aghi and the Vesperin. I take it you're now arriving. below the citadel? In the basement there?
Yeah.
I'll set his ring. You're there, as is Varys. He looks frustrated with you, Aghi. But a deal's a deal, isn't it? So he's there.
She just sort of smiles
Hello.
at him.
Is it time?
Think so.
Well, Vesprin, you come. The chair on its wheels. He needs only command it with his mind as they rotate to turn him and move him along in this chamber to the proper gate. Of the 6, of the 5 you see here, of the 6 you see here, the one he approaches begins to illuminate and glow. On the other side, you see a way station through that ancient way station. Other side of that, just about 80 feet ahead, is the other opening to the caverns. You know that to be Sagarak. He seldom needs to actually leave the way station itself to get you over to the other side, so he leads you through, if you take it, to the opening of the cave, but he doesn't cross the threshold into the stone. Said, just rubbing his hands with a look of concern as he stares at the crystals through to the other side. The natural cavern, with some unnatural holes carved through from massive worms that were a problem once upon a time. But as you reach that threshold, what do you do?
I feel like Vesprin would pause for a second if she sees Ferris looks like concerned or upset or something. Is everything all right?
Oh, yes. I hate that place. Just looks out towards Sagarak.
I do not blame you, but soon we will be done, and we can move on to sunnier, warmer places.
Take it
So
you're not
Aghi.
coming along.
No. I have an office here now, though. And he looks back. You notice in this way station, it's not that big. It's really only the size of a standard library room, but he has a spot there in the corner. He's been operating this way station, so it looks like he's taken up residence, so he can keep an eye on people coming and going, since he has the final say who does so. And with a snap of his fingers, the chair takes him over to the corner, but the way station is still active. Be safe.
Yes. Thank you for
Chair turns.
everything.
Oh, cool. Just win the war. Yeah.
Shall we? And she'd look at Aghi.
Yeah, Aghi just sort of readjusts dead mouth on her shoulder, and without a backward glance, Tavares just walks through the gate.
You move out. You don't know if it's mental or some metaphysical property of the area and its necromantic lurkings beyond, but there's a strange feeling as you step foot. You've long associated that with Sagarak by now, though. The haunted city of old. And now you're here. Where do you plan on taking Deadmouth? What is a safe place for you? You know your ally, King Haral's Grave Knights. They lead escorts from here to the hideout tunnel that leads to the safe haven of Kovlar. But is that where you're trying to go?
Not really. She doesn't want to bring this thing into Kovlar. She sort of wants to find some place where she can watch him without being disturbed. So probably towards her all.
Yeah, there was that
Right.
one hideout that Dorian was using on that pathway, right?
That's the outpost that leads to the tunnel to Kovlar.
Okay.
So it's frequented by Kovlarites by now,
Okay.
or a wandering Sailix now and then. Probably not ideal, but yeah, towards the wall where King Haral's territory. I'll pull up the map. That's a good idea. You're headed up there, though, with the Vesperin. But at that time, it was Sailix. Rune. You arrive at the Hidden Forge. Skysteel, what are you doing right about now?
Oh, I think I'd probably be polishing a breastplate.
Yeah. Of course. Hammering away at that main
Putting some
chamber.
finishing touches.
Right.
Shirtless as usual.
Of course.
For the heat.
Sailix, Rune, go ahead.
Sailix will just kind of like stand at the door, just watching him polishing the breastplate shirtless, like, oh. You know, if you had like 3 more feet, you'd be perfect. As he keeps walking inside the forge.
To Waldorff?
Yeah.
I don't think you'd hear that.
Rune
He's
follows
like
out.
focused on his task. Kind of glad I didn't hear that comment. Waldorff's got a bit of a chip on her shoulder about his height, for sure.
Just nearly perfect.
So the
Forge
the
master.
breastplate in question, he kind of looks up unexpectedly and a little surprised. He was kind of in his own world and humming one of his forge songs to himself, just kind of in that rhythmic kind of. He's in a bit of a like a fugue state, not quite that deep, but like he's definitely focused on the work. The breastplate in question is a work of art, if nothing less. It's this deep, kind of almost like a blood red color, and it is immaculate. Like if you're watching what he's polishing, you wouldn't even be able to see what he's trying to buff out. It's that like keen dwarven eye that's trying to find absolute perfection in this. He would just kind of look up and he kind of moved to like stand between the breastplate and Sailix for a second, and then kind of, oh, I wanted it to be a surprise. And he steps aside. Daniel, this is the breastplate. This is the armor that he was making for Sailix.
Oh, is that? It like Sailix just starts looking it over, just.
So the main metal of the breastplate itself, and it is just at this point in time, it's a breastplate and a belt. There wasn't quite enough material to do the rest, but I'm working on it, and I've got a couple of plans. It's a deep ruddy red from the ingots from the abyss that you provided him, and there seem to be a number of sockets actually kind of around the neck and shoulders. There's a couple of kind of greenish stones set into kind of up here on the upper chest near the shoulders where the pauldrons would go. And the belt is set with several crystals, the belt buckle in the shape of a butterfly. And it is beautiful. There are fine veins. Go ahead.
So it's kind of like elbow Rune, who's like, See this? This. I have
What's that?
few times in my life, wizard, where I have lost words.
That's accurate.
This is wow. Dwarf, I don't think I will ever be able to repay you.
You insulted, Sailix. You wound me.
There are fine veins of a very a jet black material that, upon close inspection, almost seem to make a map across the breastplate. Spots that are larger than others, trails, things that it actually kind of connects the stones that are set, the sockets, the places where it looks like other pieces are planned for. It all leads. It's a path across the entire armor, and it's almost like the veins in marble, the way that it looks. On a table nearby, there is also a small wooden box that is closed with a latch.
Sailix will kind of tap on it, like, or go to touch. He's like, "Can I put my hands on it?" He'll touch it and he'll like, "This gentleman, this is armor that's fit to ride a storm. This
a wheelchair for your son was nothing. Wings? No, there's nothing with the wings. But a suit of armor.
Speaking of the wings,
that's what it takes to take. I understand now. I see how this works. That's good to know.
Rune, would you
speaking
please
of the wings,
not
there
now?
is on the back of the breastplate, on the back of the chest piece and the armor, there is very obviously two slots for the wings to pass through or attach to, so that they can still be a part, almost like seamlessly integrated into this chest piece.
So like, so look at Rune like, I didn't mean it like that. I wasn't.
Of course, I understand.
I think Waldorff would kind of like share a wink with Rune, kind of, like he knows that Rune is just like screwing with Sailix.
Oh, yeah. It's fine. I'll just go back to my library and books.
Now, Sailix, you're not. Go ahead.
I was going to say, by the way, Dorf, I haven't had a chance to make it yet, but I got something for you too. Rune pulls out just a parchment. It is clearly a spell scroll parchment, but on it is a design for a rune. One that's typically placed on armor. And next to it are instructions on how to leverage a very specific spell on the rune in order to grant its bearer protection. He just puts it in front of Dorf. This, if the rune's created appropriately and attached to arm, it will protect someone, namely you, from being dominated again. It will make you immune to the effect.
Dorf is absolutely speechless at that. He looks up at Rune and he's a little misty-eyed for sure. I don't know what to say. Thank you.
I can't say it'll work every time, but for the most part, you should be all right.
It's the thought that counts. For you to know that's very personal to me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I've learned my lesson with it too. So we came here for a reason. Aside from allowing Sailix to drool over a suit of armor that is better than a wheelchair for his son or wings for his own back. So we are concerned about a fight coming to the city of Kovlar, and Sailix had a plan to try and evacuate the city. Well, at least get all of the non-combatants out, and we can offer a place at our citadel to hold them for the time being. I personally feel that most of the citizens of Kovlar are going to be adverse to the idea. So we thought we'd pitch it to you and get your take and see if you'd be willing to help us convince Kovlar.
I would
He kind of strokes his beard.
Reply. The area around Sailix immediately is probably intensely cold at this moment as he's glaring at Rune, just very. A city wizard.
But with the heat,
Rune is immune to extreme temperatures, so he doesn't even notice.
Pretty welcome.
I've got the better magic, nice. Motherfucker.
I mean, that's true.
Sailix wouldn't
so what do you think,
get
Waldorff?
to know. There's a jitter somewhere. Something he stirs a bit. You see Sailix place the ring he had around his neck. He slips it on his finger. Rune, Sailix might have forgotten. That won't do anything. Perhaps this is paranoia. Or worry, but that ring won't communicate if something's wrong. What seems like is the issue is Sailix is concerned. And Waldorff, you notice that coldness. It reminds you of something about Sailix. His escapade into the Shadow Realm. And it might remind you of maybe another small project you've been working on?
I do have one more thing before we continue, and if you two are done bickering like old women, Waldorff steps over to the table and picks up the wooden box, and he says, "Now, I'm not entirely sure everything that this is capable of, but I felt my hand guided by the powers that be. Perhaps someone close to you, or was once close to you, to make this for you." And he opens the top of the box, and there inside on an intricate but heavy, thin, strong but intricately woven chain is a glass pendant the shape of a teardrop with the cherry blossom petals encased within it.
Ah, shit. At that, looking down at it, that
Rune just sort of stares.
The familiar void-like mask that he always wore that has been gone for the last few times everybody's seen him just kind of immediately swirls into place.
When that happens, the pendant almost seems to react, shine a little bit, and it lifts about a centimeter out of the box, almost like it's reacting to that mask. Like it wants to be a part of it.
Rune sets a staff alight with a spell. Light, actually. Stop hiding your face, Sailix.
I guess at Rune's words, like his mask will swirl back, and he'll go and pick it up. His face is very neutral, like a calm veneer that only elves have practiced over hundreds of years. This, I will never be able to thank you for this, dwarf.
Well, the only thanks I need is when you conquer the world, just tell them where you got it from.
Look,
Anyway,
can we not boost this man's ego as a global dominator, please?
I think the world conqueror remark, Sailix kind of smirks, and he looks at the rune, and he just kind of like gives him that sly grin. He's
That
like,
is not a destiny we're going to add to your list.
but it's been spoken. I just want to throw that out there, and I had nothing to do with this time. As he puts the necklace on,
just remember where you got it from.
For fuck's sake.
I'll never forget. Now, right. Now, if we're done being choked up.
Sailix, guard of Breach Hill. Let's work with Dwarf and see if we can go actually convince some people to leave.
I should have never let you in that gate that day.
You know, Colleran was tending to the wall today. Are you headed there?
Yeah, that's what we were all asked to meet up at.
All right. We will get back to that. Vesperin, you've spotted something. The city doesn't really rest. It was to be expected. Of course, somebody's keeping eyes on you. Well, 3, as you're headed north towards the territory of the dead king, King Haral. He's conspiring with Kovlar to aid Sagarak, or at least free Sagarak somehow. And it's a good place to take Deadmouth. Apparently Aghi has business with him. But you've noticed, it seems like you're being watched. At least that's the feeling you get out of the corner of your eye, and you've made a clever route around the city. A block here and there. And you see Aghi is being followed by spirits. She doesn't see, despite her night vision goggles, but what do you do?
Are these spirits that I recognize?
No.
Okay. Do they seem, so how far away from her are they?
20 feet, 30 feet, 50 feet.
Okay.
They keep shifting as they vanish and reappear ethereally.
Okay. And then are we still telepathically all linked together?
You did meet Rune this morning. So all of you, maybe except for Sailix. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So, I guess I kind of want to talk to them. So yeah, I would like throw a rock or something to have it land like by Aghi as like a signal of like, you know, turn around because I'm gonna, you know, be there. And yeah, just come out and be like,
Aghi, reflex save.
Oh no.
You thought you were maybe being followed, and suddenly your pursuers.
I'm not throwing it to
have made a mistake. No, but you hear what maybe would sound like a footstep suddenly landing right behind you. Vespern, is that you behind her? Or just a
I
rock?
am not directly behind her. It was a rock. Like, a little rock.
You didn't save your reflex in time, so you get a hit of adrenaline as you think you were just a bit too late to respond to whatever the threat was. It wasn't a threat. However, you see those little bits of misty smoke in your goggles disappear. You don't know if it was fog or what. There is a rock at your feet, though, of a nice throwable size. What do you do?
So, oh my gosh. Aghi doesn't directly see Vesprin, does she? Since
I
you
mean,
are stealth.
She would be
when
performing
Aghi-
stealth.
When Aghi turns around, like, Vesprin would come out and, presumably behind the spirits. And, just be like, alright, so, are we going to be showing ourselves for this conversation?
They appear. Smiling. They have sunken cheeks, though. Eyes wide. Jaws open. You. What is this? Who are you? The four of them appear, and they move closer. Two of them approaching Aghi, two of them approaching you, Vesprin. What do you do?
Go ahead.
I feel like Aghi would take a step back, just looking at them. What the fuck do you want?
Oh, help us, please. They're frail. They look like ghouls. They're not. They're the ghost of dwarves. They starve to death. It's immediately apparent to you. One falls
Who are you?
to her knees and moves towards you, Aghi, reaching out for help, clutching her stomach. Help us.
If Aghi
Staring
reaches
into your
out
eyes.
to touch her hand, just sort of staring at her.
The room is painted around you. You're outdoors in Sagarak proper, massive underground city, sprawling in all directions. If you didn't have a map, you wouldn't know where the fuck you are. But painted along in a circle, suddenly everything shifts. You see what Sagarak was once, not in its glory, but during its demise. Fires here and there, people in the street screaming, bodies. No orcs to be found. It hadn't happened yet. You know the history, Aghi. But moving around, it slowly takes you back to that moment, held in memory, to these ghosts. People starving in the streets. Guards are pushing peasants away from a pile of bodies. Perhaps they were looking for something to eat, but they know that that's not the place to find it. These people are suffering. But this is a memory from centuries ago. One none of these four figures seem to have let go. And in desperation, one tries to grab your hand. The one crawling towards you. What do you do?
Aghi actually doesn't pull away. She will take their hand and sort of crouch down to their level. You just need to hold on a little bit longer.
It's no use. It's no use at all.
But there is, otherwise you would not have found us. You would not have sought us out. How can we help you?
Aghi, you feel Deadmouth begin to stir. On your shoulder, this ghoul begins to wiggle around. He weighs maybe 40 pounds. His head shoots up and he looks around, scanning, trying to find where he is. As he takes in one breath. He'd been dead for a week and suddenly he's alive again. This would be the third time. Interesting. Aghi!
I feel like
What do you do?
Shut the fuck up or we'll kill you again!
No, you need to run. Aghi, suddenly, when he says that, on this ghost, you let that physical form touch you, and you felt fingers, bony, spidery as they were, even for dwarves, suddenly became nails digging in. Telepathic bond is active across the plane, correct? You have a fraction of a second to deliver a note of panic, but other than that, we're going to roll initiative.
Hooray!
I feel like Aghi would just shout out via the telepathic link, Sagarak, before she gets into the fighting mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vesperin would try to give a mental snapshot of where they are.
Yeah, the details are just coming in. We will get back to you, Rune, Sailix, and Waldorff. It appears you're, coincidentally, all three on the top of initiative. When I rolled, so we'll just say, telepathically in about a second, Vesperin, what could you tell these three? Actually, it wouldn't be Sailix. What would you tell Rune and Skysteel here?
Yeah, I mean, again, basically, I feel like she, would say, the stars, and then give a mental snapshot of where they are.
Yeah.
Well, share a look with Rune and did you?
Yeah.
And then look at
Rune,
Sailor.
They're
your
in
top
trouble.
of initiative, what do you do?
Okay. So, they're going after my girl, right?
So Rune,
want
at
it.
37, what do you do?
Sorry. Did he have any sense about where that might be?
No, not from that. The details, even if Vesperin had many minutes, if this place had a road, it's been lost to time. You have no idea.
Would I have a sense? Well, that's not my turn.
They described a
I'm
statue.
much more familiar with the area.
Guild district, best you can
So-
do. They built a lot of statues there for old guild masters. That's all you've got.
That would be my
No, that's
shrug.
fine.
Like
So
guild?
across the bond, telepathic bond, Rune will simply say, "Need more details." Verbally, he'll look at Sailix. I think the Vesperin and Aghi are in trouble. They're in Sagarak.
Sailix will immediately take off running because he knows that they both were where they were headed, because he left before them, and they were headed back from the. If they're in Sagarak, he knows they're headed from Jewel Gate into the city somewhere, so he would head towards them, in like coming from behind. If that makes any sense. Like knowing that they were headed to Sagarak from the from Jewel Gate, like into the city, he would go like he was going to Jewel Gate from the city. Does that make any sense, or am I just?
It does. You're not in the telepathic bond. Is there a way to get in there? Because you wouldn't know necessarily where in Sagarak they were headed. They went to Sagarak, but you don't know why. I don't even know if Vesperin knows exactly what Aghi has in mind here. But I'd take it if you head off. If you start running, it would make sense.
I mean, Rune follows.
Right. Of course. What about you, Waldorff?
Slowly.
Yeah.
Oh, fine. I'll catch
Keeping
up.
pace.
It's fine.
The mission is
He-
set on
he
foot, isn't it?
silently, like, thanks Galen under his breath for making him run so many laps. Again.
You
What a good time. R.I.P. Galen. Just kidding. So, Rune, Sailix, Waldorff, anything you like to do in your actions? I imagine you're just running. That takes us.
I would like to go ahead and say that before we left the forge, after helping Sailix into his breastplate, he made Sailix help him into his armor as well. So, before we left the forge, fully armored, have my shield, have my hammer. Shield is on my back, hammer is in like a sling, and he's just like trucking like only a dwarf can.
Of course. We won't be using telepathy. We're just finding them. Is that correct? I mean teleportation.
Well, Rune. Oh, that's a 10-minute spell.
All right.
I would, if I have that information of the statues, like the district with the most statues is the guild district, I would kind of throw that. I'm assuming that Sailix is already like taken off down the street. I would telepathically communicate that to Rune that that's the most likely position for them to be in. The most likely, at least, so we have like a general idea of where they might be.
Of course.
But I don't feel like that'll be much help.
Vesperin. It seems they're headed your way. You heard nothing from Sailix. You expected as much, but you know that he's with them. You might be outmatched. You don't know much about these ghosts. An angry enough, hungry enough ghost can wipe out a squad of dwarves. That's a fact. That's been known among the guard. That's why they don't visit the temple district. You can run.
Is that where
or
we
you can
are?
fight. No, but the guild district is not far from it. So there could be some bleeding over. You're north. You're to the west of the temple district, approaching Peral's gate. So you're not that far from safety. If you think running is better odds than fighting these things. But you also have telepathy. You're communicating with your party, whatever you like.
One thing. So, if I may interrupt real quick, Jen, I think it's reasonable to assume that Rune would think there's only one place that they would be going if they're heading into Sagarak, and that's Haral's place. It's the only.
You don't know if they're headed to Kovlar, though.
Yeah, even Vesperin didn't really know where Aghi was leading necessarily. So
That's fair. All right. I thought there was I thought there was. Nope, that's fair.
Well, but they're
do
not headed to Kovlar if
here-
they're in the guild district. So
question. From
yes.
my because again, like, she's been like scouting the area a lot and everything. Do I have a rough idea of where we are? To give better directions on a mental map of like roughly where we are.
Din's Drop is about 5 blocks away,
Okay.
but you don't know what the name of the street is. You couldn't help them pinpoint you on a map.
I mean, yeah.
But they know where to go.
I figured we're not, exactly in well, okay, so let's see. Let's look at this map here. Where's a good place to run away to? I guess probably towards the Noble District, right? Where is Kovlar below us?
Yeah. You don't have that far. It would take longer for Rune to get to you than you to get to King Haral's domain to the north in the Noble District. It's a couple of straight shots to get there. These.
So yeah, I would tell Aghi to run, and point towards where Haral's area is. And I will try to, make a distraction for her to flee by throwing some of my ghost charges at them. And then after that, I'm booking it also.
So that'll take you. You will be in the combat for another round. Aghi has a chance to enter a chase encounter while you stay behind in combat for 1 round. Admittedly, the stakes are quite low for someone like the Vesperin right now, because of a certain bug that she has, where she just doesn't die so far. But yeah, well, we'll see if Aghi even follows what you say, because. All right.
Because it's Aghi.
Yeah.
Because it's Aghi. Okay, so.
God damn it.
The undead.
But yeah, I do have anti-ghost bombs.
Perfect. So yeah, you can make those attacks however you normally would. You still have your 3 actions since you've been just speaking telepathically. It's pull, throw, pull, I believe, unless you have rogue shenanigans. I imagine you can at least get 2 of those ghost bombs out.
Yeah. I mean, I do have the thing where it's not an action for me to draw stuff. So, so yeah. So I'm pretty sure I can just throw, move, or, whatever.
Right.
In theory.
Yeah, throw. Or throw, move. That's a good one.
Yeah. And then I can also do a step in between attacks via my skirmisher strike thing, which I'll be doing to try to, and yeah, mostly again, like, my goal here is to try to pull them from Aghi towards chasing me so she can leave.
Yeah, strategically there is a platform. Looks like a stage or a base. They were going to build something there, but they didn't. You could get up there and it would taunt them up, especially if you're stepping as you're throwing.
Okay.
So it'd be throw, elf step for 10, throw, elf step for 10, and then you get a movement that's enough to clear them, assuming the 2 in the top aren't fixated on Aghi.
Well, that's where my first
so imagine
bomb is going, and then my second bomb would go on the other 2. So yeah, it is 2d8 positive damage and 2 positive splash, and the target is enfeebled 1 until the start of my next turn.
Excellent. That is a ranged attack?
I'm assuming so, because it's a
Per,
bomb.
yeah.
So,
We are looking at a critical hit and then a hit.
sweet. Yeah, so I don't know how critical hits work for bombs, or if that even does anything, but yeah.
We're looking at double damage. 4d8
So,
positive.
and 4 splash damage.
4
And then would they
splash
be
damage.
enfeebled too?
No, they would just be enfeebled 1.
Okay.
Because it won't double condition effects like that. And just unless it specifies. That one's blasted back. It loses its grip on Aghi. She has a chance, if she's actually going to cut a break and make a run for it. But you catch the attention of the other 3, and you throw your second one. Who is it towards? The other one approaching Aghi?
Probably one of the ones that's like closest to me. So,
Yeah, well, you have no issue moving away from these things when you throw the bombs. But it looks like the 2 at the south were still following you anyway. So who would you like to throw it at?
let's see. Oh, okay. So if I have no issue getting away from the ones that are near me, then I'll throw it at the other one that's by Aghi.
Perfect, excellent, and it does hit.
Cool.
And it's enough to turn. It doesn't approach you yet. Instead, it's just looking. And then as you walk, you get enough distance that it would take them a lot of effort to catch up with you. And that they do on their turn. Each of the 4 of them approach you. It gives them time to speak with you. You know Dwarven, which is almost unfortunate for you because now you can hear them beg for food. Aghi, it's your turn. She's distracted them. They're hobbling up there, floating up to this platform to chase her. She's telling you to run. You know you're not far from your mission. Deadmouth is starting to squirm because he's been killed by you numerous times. And now you have a chance. What do you do?
So now knowing that Deadmouth comes back to life here, she will break his neck so that he stops moving. So that she can see how long it takes for him to come back.
Make an athletics check for me.
Yes. Athletics.
Poor Deadmouth. Right?
Right. I have my athletics check.
Do you use a hero point?
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, okay. All right.
When
Interesting.
you say it that way.
Yeah, you don't get a full crack there. Just a pop of the neck and a groan as he tries to get away. I imagine he doesn't much like dying. In his denial of death,
I think he would just accept it by now. Don't want him to suffer too much. So yes, she will finish breaking his neck if she is able to.
and he goes limp. Quite sad though. It looked like he wanted to tell you something because he got up on that first failed attempt. Tried to stop you, but the neck just cracked as soon as he stopped moving. You have 2 actions. That's enough to get out of here if you're trying to leave combat.
How How far away did the ghosts get blasted?
They're about 50 feet away from you now. Approaching the Vesperin. It'll take you all your actions to get there. You will not leave combat.
So Augie's just sort of stays where she's at. She's sort of mentally counting in her head how long it takes for Deadmau5 to come back, but she will shout in Dwarven to the ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
We are trying to lay you to rest. You just need to hold on a little while longer.
What else do you do?
She will just stand there and wait. She's wondering if they're going to talk to Vesperin. They haven't really attacked too much.
Interesting. Okay, Rune. You're in pursuit here. It sounds like Vesperin
Was there
wants Aghi to run.
Yeah, was there any additional information sent across the bond?
You've got a better idea. A few
Yeah,
blocks
like-
from Din's drop. So, doing the imaging in your head, you've got Din's drop. They're headed towards Haral, because it's the only place they could be headed towards reasonably. They
right.
came from Jewel Gate, so it leaves the one road.
What is the distance per hex on this map?
1/10 of a mile.
1/10 of a mile. Is that 525 feet?
Yeah, 528. Mm-hmm.
So 10 of these hexes is a mile?
Yep.
And where are we at right now?
You are at the wall. You've made it to the front wall of Kovlar. Right there. Got quite a ways to go. Miles. I mean, this city is massive. It really is many cities that manages to somehow come together late in its life before falling.
Was there a distinct level of urgency still in the Vesperin's communication?
Well, yeah. It's the...
Yeah.
Well, I would say it's like, it's less urgency and more just that, like, mechanical, like, I am in work mode thing, which should probably be more worrying.
All right. Rune is going to use his higher level dimension door, which increases the distance to 1 mile. And I don't need to be able to see my destination. It will get me to just over the first bridge past the commons area.
Very well. A jump ahead. Sailix.
He is...
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So with his last action, he will just move his 35 feet that he can move.
Right. Sailix.
Yes.
You're behind Rune now.
Sam,
What do you do?
Sailix is I get like he's gonna fly to avoid all the obstacles on the ground, and I guess just kind of beeline it.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much all I can do. I don't have any fancy dimension door.
Right. And Waldorff, you fall behind as well. The outcome of this battle.
So yeah, they're out of my visual range, both of them at this point in time. Because Dimension Door, he doesn't take me with him, right?
Right.
I can't.
Yeah, and Sailix is flying, so you can still see him.
Yeah, I mean, because Rune is a mile away now, right?
Right. Yeah, no, Rune
that
is
is
out.
correct.
I would stop. I would like, since if I'm at the wall and they're a mile out from me with my short little dwarven legs, I'm never going to catch up, and I'm not running through Sagarak by myself.
Right. Yeah.
I would kind of like stop and be like, okay, well,
all right, and then you're.
I'll get the guards, I suppose.
Make a wisdom check for me, Waldorff. Because you have 3 actions, and you're. I mean, you're among your people. There's no way you're a sitting duck here.
Oh, wait, no, how do I roll that? Click on the bonus. There we go. There we go.
Yep.
There we go. 19.
Wow, that's great. That was good. Roll for straight wisdom. Yeah, I mean, there are people here. Rune's not the only spellcaster, nor Sailix the only warrior. Kovlar's a city. There has to be something that you can do here.
Do we have a catapult?
What would you do? If
Chuck me into...
oh, jeez. If things seem to be going wrong.
I mean, that's part of the course with this crew.
Yeah, where would you head? I mean,
That is legit.
maybe the Archmage will have something.
How far away
Maybe the Guild
is
of
the
Honors.
Archmage? The closest
Interestingly
resource to me,
enough-
actually,
Yeah.
if there are guards at the wall that I could conscript into like a small like honor guard of some kind, or just like a small party to go after them. You know, you, and you with me. Would they listen to me? As
They look at you, but they're not inspired. They're not expecting war. So, what do you say?
I don't know.
They look out to that murky, dark city beyond, hardly any lights except a couple off in the distance. And they look back
No,
at
I
you
think
and your
that if
hammer.
If they're not immediately like ready to follow me into Sagarak kind of blindly, then yeah, I would definitely head for the Archmage and see if I could get him to, you know, because the Archmage knows them, you know, knows Sailix and especially Rune, and so yeah, I would head I would head in that direction and see if there's anything that he can do to maybe teleport me further in, or kind of head that direct. But yeah, I would come up against that wall and just go, I can't catch up on foot.
Now, Reuven isn't far. He told you to meet at the wall, and you happen to be at the wall. He approaches. He's aware of the problem based on how these people have been describing it. Sailix is already disappearing into the dark.
He
strokes his beard.
And what happened and how they took off into the city on their own, and they need all the help they can get. Don't let me leave them to die.
He hears you. He begins to cast a spell. We'll return to it. Vesperin. The four of them close in on you. What do you do? It's your turn.
I feel like she is just looking at Aghi with just those go. And if the wraiths are very much centered on me, then she would head in the opposite direction from Haral's place, and I imagined towards where the party is coming from, right?
Yep. Right.
Or am I incorrect?
No, yeah, you'd have no issue. Headed southwards, away from Haral, towards presumably Rune, as he moves
also,
closer.
Before I forget to, she'd call out for that the wraith that Haral gave us as our friend.
Yeah. Of course.
And basically, she's looking to lead the race on a chase, and would just kind of be praying to Pharasma for wisdom, guidance, help me put these fuckers to rest.
The ghosts, they pursue you. And if you use your actions to run like that, you will exit combat and begin a chase.
Okay. As long as they're not turning for Aghi, then I am cool with that.
Yeah, well, they'll spend their actions chasing you in a panic. They gasp and beg for food. You see them more starved than you've ever seen anyone or anything. But Aghi, are you chasing them?
I have a question, Ian. If I grab one of Vesperin's random snacks and throw it at him, does that do anything?
That's a risk. It's 2 actions of your 3. It's a risk if you're willing to take it.
I will take it.
All right. Well, you will not enter a chase. You're still in combat, which means, two of them stop. They immediately lunge for it, and they tear it apart, crying the entire time. But they let out this moan of pure pain. Make a will save for me. Aghi, you as well.
Oh, no.
Food seems to hurt them. They're not happy.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
Mistakes have been made.
so much for trying to be
Oh
clever.
my god.
But
Aghi, you don't have a hero point. You both
she
failed to
does.
save.
I will use my hero point.
Yeah.
And then
Imagine.
Sarah, if you're listening, Aghi could use a hero
26
point.
bludgeoning. 27 fails the save.
Oh,
Oh wow!
God.
Ow!
Oh
Maybe
my.
Oh,
Y'all been set up. That's what's happened.
Right?
20 points
Clearly.
of bludgeoning damage. Rocks rise up as these mages curl their fingers. You see skin falling off the bone, and then as they pull it in frustration, it just scatters out like shrapnel, not piercing though. Violent thuds into both of you as the explosion just batters you both.
shit.
But I need another round of saves. She wasn't the only one doing it. She was quite angry too. So there's yet another assault coming.
Oh no.
oh, my rolls.
Oh no.
It's a failed save.
Another will save.
Yep.
Oh.
That's a success.
Yay!
So you take none.
Okay, cool.
But
This
Aghi
is
takes
fun.
23. The other two move towards you. It takes 2 actions for them to approach you. The number 3 and number 4 here. They're both bizarrely tall. Maybe twins. Both in mage garb as well. You imagine there's an arcane school here in the guild district. But as they approach you, they both come to lay a hand on you. A 37 is a hit. $23 points of negative damage, and then the final one does as well. It's sort of in a mirror pattern, but it doesn't hit.
Okay.
Aghi,
Yes. So now that they have attacked Vesprin, and they're not in a chase now, right?
She's still trying to run and like lead them away from Aghi.
yes,
Should know better than that, Vesprin.
it is not a chase. It could be.
So Aghi is wearing her gloves, and close is the closest ghoul to her, or ghosty.
These ghosts. Well, 2 of them are adjacent to her. They're flanking her. I don't know if she can be flanked, but yeah, they're right on her. Then there's another 2 between you and her. 4 in total.
All right. Then Aghi will charge at the closest one, just
Right.
sort of bringing her fist back as she goes, and will strike out at it with her healer's gloves, doing positive damage.
Excellent.
So let me see if I actually hit first. East. I'm just rolling on one of them. All right. And then that is, sorry. 2d6 plus
35 is a
7
hit.
positive. Okay.
You notice more ghosts in the distance
Oh,
as the
shoot.
picture, the visage of this tragic day is fully realized. It's a powerful
50.
blow. Positive damage is quite impactful. I believe you have... Actually, no, that would be 2 actions to reach, and then you've made your attack. So it's done for you, but you see off in the distance a dozen or so rising out from far away. Not mages, not them, but ghosts.
Maybe now it's
A lot
time
of
to
pain
run.
here, you feel it. Rune. You're closer, but you're not there. What are you doing?
So, Rune calls out for Corvus as he is continuing to run. Corvus swoops down, flying past Rune, and sort of exploding into another portal of feathers as Rune uses Drain Familiar to recast the 5th level dimension door and go another mile. Can I get some icons on the map for?
Yeah. Which map? Let's see.
And I will place Rune where he should be appearing.
Rune icon. There you go.
Yeah, he'll be right there.
You can almost hear the violence from here. Vesperin has made some headway by now. Just the smallest amount. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. You're not far, but now you know roughly exactly where you need to go if you're going to help out here. Sailix.
I'm so slow.
Telepathically, you hear nothing. Visually, you see nothing.
I don't want to hear it, dude.
As you're disappearing into the chambers of the many rocks that supports this massive cave system, the last thing you see is Waldorff speaking to the Archmage and others as he casts something, but you disappear. You are in the dark now. You don't know what's going on. What's going through your mind?
Stupid wizard. As he's trying desperately to catch up to Rune, I can
Yeah.
just again. I have like 4 move actions, so I guess like he's making
Yeah.
headway. I don't know. I got nothing.
Scanning along, you see undead about. They aren't organized, not typically, and there used to be aberrations in the commons. Don't get me wrong, Raldor has helped, in a sense. You averted that crisis about 2 weeks ago, and he's managed to make things a little bit calmer in this district. You don't normally see so much undead. Except they stand about, not shambling, sort of ready, present, not at arms. They're not nearly that competent, but they're just looking around, stalking the streets. Some look up at you. Something's off.
See, there's a lot of them, right? Like a lot.
Oh yeah, there's always undead in the city. I mean, you can't go a block without running into them. Usually they stay inside, though. They have nests. They sort of remind you of cave bats in that sense. They sleep so much, or at least they had this dormant state, they like to assume, but they're all out and about. Someone shook this place or something.
Fuck. So let's turn around.
Where are you headed?
Back to the city. To Kovlar.
All right. Waldorff. You're speaking with Archmage. Now Reuven. He's been casting something. Teleportation, perhaps? Is he trying to get you where you need to go? He stirs his hand, and an incantation, an ancient dwarven you don't even know. And then with a loud clap,
Draw my hammer in
a
anticipation.
ripple over the walls. Not a spell for you or him. The walls strengthen themselves. And then just a pulse emanates outwards. And you see small blips in the space, in the panorama before you as you gaze northwards to the Commons district of the vile city of Sagarak. And off in the distance you can see pairs of eyes. This is mapped out from the magic that he cast. And he just looks at you. What do you do?
I ask him what he just did. What was that?
Ancient magic,
Oh, I
boy. Keeps an eye on the place. Well, you see it.
The eyes?
You see the
Eyes?
small, faint outline. Looks like a dove. You know it's Sailix. It's picked him up on this pulse. Something's wrong.
Something's
No.
always wrong out there.
Get to the barracks. Get him up.
I immediately snap to attention and do exactly as he says.
Excellent.
As far as I'm concerned, he's the voice of experience. I'm still really new to this job.
Yeah.
Hell, I'm still really new
Right.
to my brain.
Of course, and something does seem wrong, or maybe it's this young panic. But you can make a skill check for me.
Okay.
You don't have a lot of time, and you haven't experienced something like this. You're told to help bring these people to alarm. So, what skill checks would you make, given you had mere seconds, not minutes, to do so? Intimidation will work.
diplomacy?
Diplomacy.
Hmm?
Yeah.
No, I think that when Dorf regained his mental faculties, things like intimidation and deception are not something that he wants to be a part of himself anymore. He wants to be honest. He wants to be upfront. He wants to be inspiring, but definitely he wants to be persuasive, but he doesn't want to be deceptive at all. So I'd say diplomacy, if anything.
Right.
Ooh. Can I hero point that?
You've got a hero point.
I will hero point that. And that's just a reroll, yeah?
Yep.
Come on, baby. Ah, shit.
It's better. You don't know what's
He's
to
like
come.
banging his hammer against his shield, trying to make as much noise as possible and, rouse the troops. To arms! To arms!
They
To the
rise.
wall!
Doors to the barracks, they open up. More to come. But as you prepare, Vesperin.
Yeah, so I guess first of all, does Haral's show up, or is he curiously AFK?
He's nowhere to be found. Yeah.
Ooh, spooky. Okay. Does it still look like old Sagarak in here? Or rather the memory, I should say?
The memory matches Sagarak. You see fires, pillaging, cannibalism, horror. No orcs can be found, so you don't really know when this would be, what they're trying to show you. But as this image and this vision appeared, that's also when the ghosts appeared, because this whole scene seems to be connected to this haunting, and maybe they're trying to show you what occurred on those weeks before the city fell. but you don't have a lot of time to get their side of the story because it looks like they're trying to kill you. What do you do?
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I guess, can I attempt diplomacy? Of like, hey, we can't help you if you fucking kill us?
And it's funny, they seem so mindless. All they beg for
Okay.
is food. That's all they want, and it looked like for a second they were trying to tear through Aghi to get it.
Yeah. Alright. But then obviously my snacks also hurt them.
It seemed to bring them pain. You have telepathy, and
do.
you could flee. You could openly flee, if you would like. You could leave combat gracefully. It would be an athletics check. It's up to you.
I mean, I want to know what they're trying to show us. You know, and like again, since Aghi's not gonna leave either. Let's see. Okay, so you had said before where we were, there was some kind of dais? Or something?
Yeah,
or like...
you're on the far end of that platform, likely headed down the stairs now.
Okay. Is there anything on it? Like, or, like...
No.
Basically, is there anything that stands out as being important or impactful, or maybe even, like, you know, again, in her talks with Haral, like anything that triggers any memories of stuff that he mentioned?
It might be hard to remember what happened those years ago, or even the memory of him speaking about it, because it was so violent. You hear it now, the distant screams. Far off in the city, more ghosts now. At least a score or two. They starve to death, and it looks like their punishment is to never leave that hunger behind. They are eternally hungry, it seems. Even ethereally, they're ripping anything to shreds. Anything they could find. But speaking to them, it didn't seem to help, so what do you do?
Okay. I guess, so, oh god, this is hard. Okay, so we know there's way more on the horizon, that are circling in to come get us. Do I have an idea of where Rune is?
Ask him.
You here yet?
Can I respond?
Oh yeah. Telepathy's quite fast. I've learned recently. Go
I
ahead.
hear you. I hear you, the fight. I just entered the guild section.
Okay. We're going to have a crowd with us. I hope you like guests. And I guess, I think I have 2 more of my ghost charges. But Ian, what looks like it caused more harm to the wraiths, the bomb or the sandwich?
Bomb hurt them physically through positive damage. The sandwich seemed to just upset them. It just made them really hungry.
Okay.
They want fresh meat.
Yeah, well, they ate it quite quickly. But now you notice they're moving closer to you. You're running out of time.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna try, if they all seem focused on me and not on Aghi, then I will lead them, in the direction that I think Rune is in.
Right. So you'll just be headed southbound then, huh?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they're drawn to you. Feeding them did that.
Rune will at least offer to keep to the main roads.
Right. Excellent. With 3 movement actions, you can exit combat, but they will still be chasing you, which is critical here.
Okay.
They're following you. And with that, it means you are not being attacked by any of them. The 4 of them likely would have attacked you. Aghi, are you pursuing them as they chase the Vesperin? Important question.
It is. Has Deadmouth not come back yet?
Oh, he's dead.
Yep.
You drop him off?
Oops. No, she's still counting.
Okay, excellent. And if you're chasing these things, you will chase them down. Are you trying to attack them? These ghosts?
This is probably a very stupid idea.
Yes.
Yes. Aghi will pull off her gloves.
Oh, God.
Stuff them in her pocket. She will just sort of drag her hand across her axe, drawing blood, and then will take off in the direction of Hurl's castle. She's trying to split this huge group up.
Some follow you. I need you to make an athletics check. Do you have a hero point? Excellent. Do you broadcast your strategy?
Yes. But it's not very clear, as Aghi's just like, there's going to be too many chasing you. We need the Grave Knights. Or whatever they're called.
My love, if we survive this, I'm going to kill you.
In that party, yeah, it does seem to split. Maybe 40 ghosts about now. Only a few of them are close enough to try to claw at you or grab you. You're agile enough not to get nabbed. But top of initiative order, Rune, what do you do?
People are using up all my magic. Rune will use his connection to the plane of shadow to basically do a dimension door 120 feet, sort of an angled upwards that takes an action. So he's now effectively teleporting into midair to get an overhead view, at which point he casts Fly.
Okay, and where does that put you?
I think it might put me a little bit into the next hex, since I would have ended at the upper edge of the current one he's in.
Excellent. Yeah, you're closing the distance with Vesperin for sure.
Yeah.
You hear that now. This illusion is coming out to you. You hear the sound of war. But not war. The war before the war. The panic.
Oh, I'm
It's
hearing
illusory,
the
but
crowds of people screaming for food or
crowds.
moaning in hunger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's comforting.
You see some ghosts
Um,
cropping up as well.
So Rune will express out to Dorf where he is, clearly stating just over the bridge on the south side of the guild quarter. The ghosts, the hungered of Sagarak, are active, and I can hear the battle with the Vesprin.
Yeah.
And I believe that will
Help is on the way.
end his turn as he is effectively floating in midair with giant raven's wings, about 120 feet up the city of Sagarak, Guild Quarter.
Sailix.
Right. Since after seeing all of the stuff, he started backtracking. All of the undead lining up outside of Kovlar. He is going to continue back. So he should land back in the city where he started from originally. Is anybody at the gates yet or not?
Waldorff
Yeah.
has been leading something of an emergency battalion. And defense is being formed for what you don't really know yet. But the wall is being fortified magically. The Archmage, he reinvigorates the runes that he's laid there decades ago, and soldiers come to the front. They're ready. If it's Sagarak, it's coming from to the north, and yeah, you would spend your actions to get here, but you have time to speak with him if you would like.
Sailix will just kind of land next to Dorf with Leviathan out, and while just kind of looking out towards Sagarak, he'll just say, "So you ready to die for the city?"
Always. Does Sailix have his mask up?
Oh yeah, no, that's probably as soon as he landed that flown into place, flowed.
Now, as you land, Skysteel, why don't you describe what Sailix will see as that helmet snaps on, materializing from the black, inky magic he possesses?
So it's when the ferrofluid-esque kind of inky liquid shapes itself into Sailix's mask, it picks up the glass pendant with it as it goes, and it becomes almost like a diadem. And the pendant kind of places itself in the center of Sailix's forehead, kind of shaping it almost more like a helm than a mask. And what happens to Sailix is that his vision shifts, and he's seeing both the material plane in front of him and almost like a third eye opening with this gem. He's seeing the echo of the shadow realm beneath it, seeing almost both planes at the same time.
Oh well, yeah, that sucks. I'm probably like, oh well, that's new.
Dwarves prepare for battle. Almost all of them older than you, Waldorff. But they look up to you. They wait for the guild master of the Guild of Arms to arrive. Any minute now, he'll be here. They prepare for an assault.
Instead of in front of them, he would step into the line like a soldier.
Excellent. And what about you, Sailix?
Sailix doesn't really fit in the formation, but he would try to be like off to the auxiliary, protecting a flank. Like he would have spent time with them over the weeks, memorizing how they fight and everything, so he would know the best place to play Vanguard at.
Right. Well, we're all out of combat, but I'll take the tracker anyway. Vesperin, I think you're headed directly towards Arun, and Arun Vesperin. Down and up that road. Well, you've reached one another. Arun, you're flying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she basically communicate something here that we are meant to see, and I can't for the life of me figure out what the fuck it is. So if you have a better idea, wizard, now is the fucking time.
There are many ghosts behind her. Many more rising.
He's aiming for. He is adjusting his trajectory to engage with said ghosts.
If we fight them, it is like fighting a drop of water in a bucket.
Please. Help us. One says. He rises out of the ground.
Rune
Hungry.
will allow himself to free fall to just above the group of ghosts.
Yeah.
In mid free fall, he grasps at his staff, sort of pulling it in, centering it to his body as he closes his eye. And again, just one half of him seems to light, but it's a sort of a peaceful. Well, suffice to say that his visage splits into one side being sort of broken and charred, while the other is vibrant. And just at about the 10 feet over the crowd, his free fall stops as his clothing sort of billows out as divine energy seems to pulse within him and explode outward in a healing sphere around him, causing positive energy to radiate out. He's effectively doing heal in a radius.
Yeah.
Doing a let's see here, which one is this one? Yeah, it will end up being out to a range of 60 feet. And do 34 points of damage. I forgot to put the addition on there.
Well, it enrages them. Some of them shatter into ethereal bones before dissolving, but more move in towards you. You've cleared a wide swath. You have the chance to
Does
act
that
before they
heal
approach
me?
again, but they seem angry. It
Am I close enough that
should.
Okay. And
Yeah,
that
because
was
he moved right
34?
towards you, right to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's hovering about 10 feet above the crowd. Does he feel like they can get to him?
Yeah, they can fly. They're not restrained to the ground.
How quickly do they seem to be
At
flying?
least you see them. Well, shambling over. They could get to you, but it would take some time. You've cleared out a radius.
He'll take his 35-foot flight and basically get above the Vespern.
Yeah.
Keeping
Well,
pace
you're not
with
in
her at this point.
combat. I don't know how long that will last. So, Vesperin, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, again, she's just like, that was very lovely, wizard. I am very impressed. You're just as dramatic as Sailix is. But honestly, again, we need to figure something out that is a lasting solution. There is something
I didn't
new
quite
on
realize
this
there were
thing.
so many.
Did you
Didn't
not
really
hear
give
me when I
context
said
on
there was
number.
a crowd? I said a crowd. A crowd.
A crowd is like 4, 5. This is a mob.
What the fuck kind of crowds are you familiar with? Have you not gone through the director's plays?
You're talking preacher? There's like
Still
20
running,
people there.
Walter.
Rune, do you notice?
You just feel horror and repulsion at the idea of like Breach Hill is a crowd.
That ectoplasm starts to reform off in the distance where you had blown many of them to pieces. They start to reassemble slowly, so slowly. That was quite quick.
Ian.
Yeah.
Is there like again like a center of this area or
The temple.
oh, the temples in this district?
Fuck off.
No, it's not. It's about a mile away, but you can see it from here. The thing is ridiculously tall. It's probably. I mean,
I see
who knows?
what you're
I mean, it's a
doing,
temple.
TM.
It's just
I see what you're doing.
I mean, Newbram's Field is just next door. Massive
Social
graveyard,
engineering skills are
mausoleum. I mean,
terrible.
and yeah, so but my dungeoneering skills are
disregard
great. So
your
I mean,
spam.
if you want to go, you can also go to Haral. It's just to the north. That's where Augie's
Yeah.
headed.
Yeah.
Telepathically, she's doing quite swell. She's lost almost all of these ghosts, and she's just now reaching the front gates there. If you wait here, you're going to have more trouble. Where are you guys headed?
I guess let's go towards Hural, because we probably don't want to lead them towards Kovlar, and going into the Death Trap Temple seems like a terrible idea. Fuck you, Ian.
It is.
I mean that in the nicest way. And the nicest
Oh, yeah.
fuck you.
I don't.
But, like, you know.
I don't.
But I want to be on the lookout, like, studying, like, I mean, I guess not studying, but, like, very quickly, like, observing everything, and if anything on the way seems important or, like,
Right.
yeah, because, like, as the ghosts are, like, calling out to her, she's just literally like, I cannot help you if you aren't telling me how the fuck to do it.
For what it's worth,
It'll be a
on the
chase.
next available,
Mhm.
well, on the next available moment that Rune can, he will call Corvus again, who will fly down and essentially merge with the Vesperin, granting her wings as well.
What?
Peregrine wings in this particular instance.
Falcon.
So cool.
Damn.
Brilliant choice.
Basically, you get
and
fly.
It will take some time for you guys to make headway to towards the gate. Aghi, you arrive. Immediately, you hear the Grave Knights begin to open the gate for you. They recognize you, and you recognize a wraith. He appears,
Um,
looking at you. One of Hral's men. What? He stares at
thought you said
Deadmouth,
you would come.
the ghoul around his shoulders. We're quite
Yeah, he's
busy.
still- Don't look that busy to me. You said you'd fucking come when Vesper needed you.
Something is wrong. Come.
And you don't know what? Oh, stupid wraiths. Okay.
He moves into the gatehouse.
Is
that where you go?
Nothing but follow him. Yep.
Excellent. He takes a leisurely path with you along the edge. Are you headed to King Hral?
Does that look like where he's heading?
Yeah, well, he imagines if you're here, you're going to see the king who shall inherit this city. Or at least he believes. And he'll lead you along the path. Unless you had somewhere else you wanted to go, you imagine. That might be a safe place. Because it is considered the safest place in Sagarak.
If he's
It
taking
was at least
this
the last to fall.
leisurely fucking pace, Augie's just gonna push ahead to where Hral is and not wait to be let in by this wraith.
You have a long, spiraling path along a natural rock formation that makes its way to the Hanging Palace. That is the Dwarven King Hral's throne room and floating estate, essentially. But he'll just float along to essentially match your progress towards. So you'll meet at the same time. But who you'll meet as well, due to the nature of the shortcut, they have a direct line to Hral's palace. Rune and the Vesperin. I imagine they'll arrive at about the same time, but we'll get back to that because back in Kovlar. Telepathically, Waldorff, do you have anything you would like to say to your friends? It's been many minutes. You've had a chance to actually prepare here. So what do you do?
Does it look like anything is moving towards the city? Towards Kovlar?
Anxiety and despair. These men look quite nervous. Actually, everybody except for Hramgar, the leader of the Guild of Arms, Grokar Hammersong, and his furious red beard, and then, of course, Sailix. He seems quite calm. You realize, Sailix, Waldorff likely hasn't fought a battle like this. Fights, maybe, skirmishes,
No,
of course you've seen them, but a siege?
A little bit of one-on-one, but nothing this big. You know, Waldorff is
Say anything.
terrified and trying not to show it.
Sailix will walk over to Dorf and kind of kneel down as they're looking out over it. He's like, fear gets nothing but mistakes. Calm yourself and think of an objective. At the end of this...
Can I...
Say again?
No, go ahead.
At the end of this, that objective is going to be accomplished. Rather it be you being alive, the city being saved, whatever. Focus on your objective and keep moving no matter what. Know that I will be right on your right. I won't
the
let
waiting that
anybody.
kills me.
Well, unfortunately, we were blind to the siege they were laying. So now we wait.
Do we have any sense of where the others are and like if they're coming this direction and or leave,
Speak to
heading away
them.
from us?
You have a connection.
In your
to
mind,
them,
they're
I mean.
so close you could feel their breath. The Vespern.
Close my eyes and kind of reach out mentally and try and get a sense of where they are and how they're moving and if they're close enough for us to get to them.
Right.
Well, Dorf would
Sailix can
have
carry
heard
me.
Dorf would have heard
Dorf
the
would have
back and
heard our-
forth that the Vespern and Rune had. It was mainly all in our head anyway. So that would have been broadcast across the board.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the very least, he knows they're in the
and-
guild. They're in the guild quarter and likely headed towards Haral's.
Yeah. And, at this point, Vesper had gotten a little damage, but she seems fine now. And is mostly just more annoyed at Rune for not knowing what a crowd is. Like, how the fuck can you not know the fucking size of a crowd, you small farmer kid?
Would Sailix be able to carry Waldorff and fly?
There will be
Maybe.
penalties. It's a hindrance, with the armor especially. It'd be half pace even if it would work.
We're going to take all day to fly there.
Do you intend to head anywhere?
Yeah.
Oh no! So Sailix would look at Dorf and be like, the place we should be right now is here. The place I should be right now is right here. Don't get me wrong; I'd love to have the wizard and Aghi and Vesper in here as well, but we play the cards we're dealt, and this is what we're dealing with.
Is there anything that I can do to bolster the troops? Is what I'm wondering.
You give them a rousing speech, and you show them that you're not afraid. You show them that we're
If they're
going to
looking
win.
to you.
Has the Master of Arms, has he showed up yet? What's his name again?
Grokar Hammersong. He's here, actually.
Hammer Song. When I see him,
he is here.
I would move to go and speak with him and ask him for what he needs from me.
Sailix will put his arm, like his hand, on Dorf's shoulder and lean over and be like, "You're in charge now. You tell him what he's going to do." These people.
Dorf is kind of like taken aback by that, and he's like, "Wait, right?
These people need
Yes.
a leader.
Dorf would kind of
They're all looking at you.
steel himself and raise his, visor on his helm if he has one.
Yeah.
And rather than
Can,
walk to Hammersong, would stride up to Hammersong. It's about time you got here.
Can Sailix manipulate the shadows around him to make Dwarf look more imposing?
Yeah, they're all staring at you, waiting for you to speak. Waldorf, go ahead.
He clears his throat and looks out over the lines of dwarves. And he says, in a loud and clear voice, "The day has come. The time is now. We all knew that this would be our fate. Stand tall, stand strong, shoulder to shoulder with your brothers and sisters. We will see this day through. We will prevail. We will protect Kovlar, and Sagarak will rue the day that it faced us in battle.
Aye.
Do not fear. Do not quail. Follow me, and we shall prevail.
Aye. They raise their weapons and stand. You see, out in the distance, those undead, they've gathered now. In the hundreds, some only crawling, coming out of the woodwork like worms with the rain, except now they pile on one another. You knew there were thousands of corpses in Sagarak. They all had the tendency to sort of disappear. Well, they've returned now in such profound numbers that they pile over one another. A swarm of sorts as it coalesces into a mass that sort of sinks and swims over to the wall of Kovlar, except your men are behind you. Weapons out, shields in the revlons of this wall. There's a magical barrier protecting them, their pikes sticking just outside of it. And they're ready for war.
Do we have
You see the
catapults
sweat
or
dripping
ballistas
down
of
the
any
face.
kind?
None, and there's a dwarf beside you. You see his face is covered in sweat. He's the only one you've seen so far that's your age. And he looks at you. You see the warm light of a torch nearby, illuminating his face. Kovlar. A yellow smile as he mounts his pike. It sticks out just outside this ward. The rest of them do the same. Hundreds. It's an imposing force. Nothing compared to what you see beyond, though, a sea of screaming corpses as they make their way up these roads. The gap closes. Bodies finally hitting the wall creates a splash effect as the barrier meets the corpses and the battle begins. We will cut back to that, though. Rune, Vesperin, and Aghi, you've all heard this. You're aware that the battle's begun in Kovlar, but you arrive at Harold's throne room.
Oh yeah, they totally got that speech too.
Yeah, the back entrance. Well, you know that shit's hit the fan, and yeah, I imagine you're demanding company with the king. What do you guys do?
Are we in the presence of the king now?
Aghi, you are entering through a different entrance. Rune and the Vesperin have arrived on the balcony that connects to his throne room. That seems to be a good place to meet, I imagine.
I feel like when the wings dissipate from her for a second, so Rune can see it, she looks kind of sad. And, you know, just like remembering something that, you know, used to bring her joy. But very quickly just, you know, goes back into work mode and goes forward looking for the king.
Yeah. Rune, what about you?
When it comes to Haral, Rune is taking lead from the Vesperin on this one. And simply verbally, not over the bond. We need to get back to our friends.
The walls are strong, wizard. They will hold. If luck is with us, then maybe we can find something to stop all of this while they manage to survive. That is what
Rune
I've
just
heard.
chuckles. Luck? Vesperin, I make the luck around here.
That is why
I
the
don't wanna
gods
hear
are
it
angry
anymore.
at you. That is why the goddesses do not listen to you and listen to me.
What are we doing here anyway?
If anyone would
Why does
know
Aghi
the
want to
stuff,
come here?
she had the ghoul, Deadmouth. She had.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. She seems to be keeping it as some sort of undying pet. I did not really ask many questions, but it came back to life when we were here.
Rune just sort of cocks his head and his face sort of contorts. Wait, your daughter was keeping an undead pet and you chose not to ask questions.
There was a lot going on.
Crowd's mother. There's a distinct difference here. Yours is far more important.
Wait, can you repeat what you just said? I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch the first part.
He's a crowds versus mother. Two distinct ideas. Agreed. Yours is far more important.
So, understand, again, one ghoul coming back to life, with his fucking curse. How the fuck was I supposed to know it would raise a whole fucking city of undead things?
That
It
my
seemed to have
point
ideas,
is, and this is while
but
we're
then she
walking there,
killed it
just so you know,
again.
Ian.
And you've crossed the threshold then into his throne room itself, yeah? I imagine?
My point
Because you've arrived at the balcony, it's
you
not a long
didn't-
walk.
You didn't ask why she had a ghoul for a pet. That's what you chose not to ask about. Just making sure we're on the same page here. All right, that's good. That's fine.
I was also
There's the
curious
king.
about whether or not it would come to life.
Sure.
You see her
sure.
all.
We'll go
Wanted
with
to
that.
see what would happen.
His hammer's sitting.
Yep. All right then.
Your Majesty!
on the- He doesn't look at you. He's speaking to Aghi. Looking at her. Examining. She's different from the last time he saw her. You see, some of her garb is still present. Her hair fashioned in a way to pose for this painting. Anything to match the likeness of someone he once knew. They're speaking. But he's not really. He's just listening. Aghi, go ahead.
Aghi is just sort of shaking her head. She's just has this mask of anger as she's looking at this dead king. You are sitting here on your throne when you should be fucking protecting your city. You let it fall once. And now look at you. There's fucking ghosts out there on your doorstep. Is this what Balgora would have wanted? You just sit here again?
I don't know. He turns to the Vesperin, stares at the blade that carries his dead lover's soul. Is it what Balgora would have wanted? blade hums. Vespern, all you know is that Balgora wants to see the living die. Or at least that's what she says. What do you say?
I think that she wants to see an end to all of this. It has gone on for long enough, wouldn't you say? Those people were trying to show us something. I do not know what it was. They cried out for help. They cried out for something. You are their leader. If anyone knows, can marshal them. Tell me, is it the crown that makes a king? Or is it the man?
If this curse is spreading, we're implicated. The temple. Magnum's curse. It must be corrupted there.
Rune
sulked at the mention of the temple.
Yeah, well, you don't have much time to sulk. You hear the sound of extreme violence. Waldorff is doing battle. He's 4 kills in to the first wave of a siege. This would be a great time to sit down and discuss things, but you don't know how long Kovlar has. The 3 of you actually realize this. What do you do?
If the solution to all of this is in the temple, then we must brave whatever it is to stand a fucking chance of doing it.
I used up a lot of my magic getting to you. I'm not sure what... I'll certainly try.
Aghi is still looking at King Haral, who's, I'm guessing, still sitting there.
He's staring at you, Aghi.
Are you going to stand and fight? Or are you just going to be a disappointment to Balgora? I don't fucking know her. But if I did, and if she's similar to my kin, then you sitting there is just a disgrace to her. So, like,
I gave you my grave knights. What more do you want?
He looks up at you. You're taller than him.
For you to be a king.
Yeah.
I don't know why Balgora would have fucking fell in love with you. Orcs fall in love with warriors.
Ooh,
Spicy.
spicy.
Face to face. Not from behind brave knights, from behind lines.
Removes the buckle that holds his gauntlet in place, and he lets it fall to the ground. You know it's coming. He doesn't reach for a hammer, nor a spell. He's quite talented with both of those things. No, his old undead fist. You do anything to stop it.
He's throwing down the gauntlet.
With a fist to the
He has a
face?
clenched fist.
Oh, she stands there. Go ahead.
He'll deliver a blow. A punch across the face. as a warrior
Oh shit!
would in a debate. Are you wearing your gloves, Aghi?
No, she put them in her pocket.
Well, then you bleed.
She will smile, her teeth all bloodied, and just spit blood at his feet. So you'll hit me, but you won't hit them?
Oh, I'll hit him.
He reaches out. His hand and the long hammer slowly floats over, this time touching his bare flesh so he can grasp it. Small runes lighting up along the shaft of it.
It's a war on two fronts.
Looks to the wizard, the rogue, and back to Aghi. He won't look at Balgora now.
You look.
The crown. What power does the crown have in this instance?
So he was interrupted before he said something to Aghi, but he seems almost relieved to be. It was painful for him in that moment, but he turns on his heels to Rune.
The crown is cursed. I suffer for it. She suffers for it.
He points in the direction of Balgora and Vesperin, a bit ambiguously.
More suffer. It seems. We must take it.
Well, the dwarf known as Vishumerix has it. What can he do
If
with
you
it?
mean to tell me, if I had any clue where the Schumer exists, we'd find him.
It's more about trying to understand if Kovlar's being attacked right now, is it because of him and that crown? If it is, that means he is using the crown to send armies there, which could mean the temple is not protected. Well, not as protected. So I just need to understand, what does the crown do? You seem to imply that it had control over the starved. Is that the ghosts that are within this city?
No. Risen flesh. It controls the bound. The ghosts. They're loyal to their own.
Why would they have risen when they did not before? Why now? What
All
has
four of you
changed?
notice movement off in the corner. It's quite dark, but it seems, I think all of you can see the dark now. Someone is trying to slink away. Aghi, you set Deadmouth down, and it seems he's come back.
Aha!
So,
Tried to scamper away.
can I try to grab him this time so Aghi doesn't insta-jib him?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Um,
Deadmouth, my
I'm
good
actually going to run
friend.
initiative for it. Aghi does have initiative.
Okay.
Haha!
But
For
I
the
have
roll.
reflex. I have reflex.
You can run your initiative as a reflex save.
I mean, it's
I've got
basically
you.
the same, but I have legendary reflex. That sucks.
You can stop Aghi if you would like. The reflex will constitute that.
Yeah, I feel like she would put a hand on Aghi's and then, like, grab, Deadmouth, like, you know, like she's grabbing her best friend ever, and be like, perhaps we should have a chat with him before we go killing him again. He seems to know a bit about what is happening, no?
Wasn't gonna kill him again. Just wanted to see if he was gonna
Yeah,
come
you
back
see,
last time.
sort of backed into a corner, holding his neck.
The audacity!
No, like, she's like got him like, and like I feel like Vesserit's like smiling with that like I am not believing a word of your bullshit. Like, you will have to
Deadmouth doesn't believe it either.
do so with me. I thought you had to lie better than that, did I not?
Lessons never
Ghoul.
sunk in.
Rune will speak in Rune starts
Necrol?
speaking in Necrol. Yeah.
Whew.
Ghoul.
Nah, wizard. Yeah,
Who's Vashumarex?
bad news. Haven't met him. He's not doing this, though. He controls the starved. He's not bringing them back.
So
It's
what's
happening in
bringing
the
you
temple.
back?
The curse. It's Megrun's curse. That's not where Vashumarix is. Not what I've heard.
Where's Vashumarex?
Under the slag. Caves, caverns, collapsed mine systems. It's magma. A prison of danger. He's a coward. He's gonna win this fight without setting foot in the battlefield. But you can't
Alright.
win.
Oh. Deadmouth, they call you? My dear Deadmouth,
Why?
we're the Unforgotten. We're made of winning.
She stares at Aghi. 220 pounds of pure winning. And looks back at you.
If you take the temple, you haven't taken the crown. If you take the crown, everyone you've killed along the way, they'll just come back.
The temple it is, then.
Their
What
victory
do you know of this
stands on two
curse?
pillars. You need to win on both fronts. They're smart.
What do you know of the temple?
Give me a fucking map and I'll show you where to go.
Looking to Hral, still in Necrol. My king, do you have a map of Sagarak handy by chance?
He snaps a finger. The double doors in the throne room opened. You know, on the far side of that hallway, a turn and a turn, there's a war room. A good place to plan. Do you head there?
Yeah, not allowing, Deadmouth to go too far away, but back in common. So, according to our ghoul here, we have two problems. Vashumarix is not at the temple like I had hoped or thought. Vashumarix lies deeper and still has the crown. The temple is a different problem altogether. And according to Deadmouth here, both need to be secured in order to win.
Perhaps then, Dorf and Poppy and Sailix can try to find Vishumarix? I don't know.
For what it's worth, Rune will express that exact same information across the telepathic bond to Dorf.
Okay. Baral leads you down the hallway to the war room. I imagine you're making haste.
Oh, yes.
Chiming in telepathically, you notice Waldorff is under some duress. The wards on the wall start bending a bit, and now that you take it in, you can feel sort of what he's perceiving, and it is pure chaos. Now that you're returning to that place mentally, there is so much violence.
Yeah, I don't know that Waldorff.
The Warsworn piling on these wards, they start to wear at the seams. You can speak telepathically. Sailix and Waldorff, you are in a combat with this, what you hear the dwarves call a Warsworn. Great mass die-offs often lead to these undead abominations. They cluster together like a sort of rat king and overwhelm through sheer force. You two are fighting this thing. You, Waldorff, can speak telepathically. Sailix, you can engage in combat. Since you are top of initiative. Yep.
So Sailix will spend two of his turns summoning a Shadow Beast. This one looks completely different than the other one that he in Rune summoned 2 weeks ago. This one stands about 20 foot tall, and as it comes out, it has probably arms that like hang down to its knees with jagged claws with shadows dripping off the end of them, a faint blue light emanating from underneath what looks like shadowed armor plates, and pale lights coming from where eyes should be in the face. But it is of gargantuan size and should be able to take a main focus of the thing.
Excellent.
And with his
because this ward starts to break open at a seam, and it helps occupy that hole as hundreds of bodies try to pile in this animate monstrosity. You have an action left.
And with his last action, since I take it like this is when they rolled their initiative, he will, while drawing Leviathan, that familiar high-pitched scream goes out as he lets off. That's his battle cry. So anybody, I don't know if it'll work on the undead.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really have anything on there, but it's demoralize.
Yeah. You can't tell if it has an effect on this thing. There are these faces, most of them, they're just sort of melting off. If there was panic in this thing, you wouldn't be able to really tell necessarily, but a battle cry might be what they need. It might be what Waldorff needs. Waldorff, what do you do? You've been communicated to telepathically as well.
And the only response that Rune gets is, "Don't have time for you now, boy." And he's in full battle commander mode, gladiator, on my mark, unleash hell. He steps forward and sees that the ward is starting to crack in front of this gargantuan mass of undead bodies. Yeah? That's relatively near me, I would expect. He leaps up onto
you're up on
the
that
wall.
Mm-hmm.
In front of all of the troops, and he's kind of trying to bolster their courage. He's kind of directing this general that way, and he calls for all of the casters to follow his lead. Anyone that can cast a spell, and he casts Sunburst in the middle of the mass of undead bodies. which is 8d10
Excellent.
fire damage and
There's a
8d10
save?
additional positive damage to undead creatures. A reflex save, yeah. Each creature and object in the area must attempt a reflex save.
All right.
And my spell DC is...
Oh, it fails.
So, yeah, failure of the creature object takes full damage. Let me go ahead and cast that.
Excellent.
So yeah, 8d10 fire and 8d10 additional positive damage.
2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, those are the wrong dice. 2, 3. Ha ha. 2, 4, 6, 8. You notice, 2. There aren't very many casters around. They don't flock to your aid. You inspire them, but they can't help you here. The casters, they didn't mobilize. It looks like they were ready. They were trying to prepare to aid in the event that people were injured.
That's fair.
There was an emergency ward set up. If you feel like you can command them more efficiently, you could head there and try to gather them. They're clerics like you, so you have something in common with them. If you think taking leadership here would be more important. You managed to do a number on this thing, but it keeps growing in size. It's hard to tell if you're even winning this fight. So what do you do?
No, I think that yeah, that's a good good use of the casters would be to heal anybody that is injured, for sure.
Right.
I think that more so the inspiration of seeing this massive sunburst, blossom and everything. That's tough. That's really tough.
And you're judging if the clerics can go on offense, maybe fewer people die. However, if they come to tend the weak, maybe they are sitting ducks. The ward snaps in front of you. 35 is a hit. A pile of bodies topple over you along that portion of wall.
Did Dwarf move away from Sailix?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, he's near the opening there. Yeah.
Alright, so if he's near Sailix, Sailix will use his flourish for Guardian's Deflection to take the hit and make it a miss. So it'll probably look more like, instead of a deflection, since it's the mass of bodies, like Sailix just puts a boot on his shoulder and kicks him out of the way.
Excellent. That corpse wave piles onto you instead. That is a natural 20 for a critical hit.
Waldorff would
The
roar
bodies slam
in
onto you. You
rage.
pushed him right out of the way. And with its final action, a critical hit again. You're under a swarm as the wall starts to crumble in, piled up. We will return to you. I will re-roll initiative here for dramatic effect for how that's going to go next time. But until then, you lot reach the war room. Waldorff seemed too busy to talk, but a map of Sagarak is presented. Pearl doesn't waste time, doesn't bother with sitting at his seat at the far end of this room in his palace. Instead, he examines the map of the massive fallen metropolis and waits for you to speak. What do you guys do?
You're muted, Mr. Smith.
Rune looks at Deadmouth and all right. Again in neck roll, just to make sure he's not mincing words. In translation, what do you know of the temple and this curse?
If you do not tell us everything and truthfully, you know I can come back to life quite easily, and I will make sure not to kill you, but to amputate each of your limbs, and then let you stare at them for the rest of however the fuck long this lasts.
I'm on your side. Well,
He circles the temple.
the curse is spreading here. They got smart. Top worlders, they came in, yeah. What they don't want you to know. I know where Vishumerix is hiding. In the choking mines.
Points to a section behind the temple.
They figured they could guard it from there, using the temple as an outpost. You need to spread their forces thin.
Are you telling me the triad is at the temple?
I don't know what a triad is. People
We knew that
are at the
already.
temple.
Living
That's where the
people.
curse comes from. Once upon a time, if you killed me, I would have stayed dead. Now I'm here. Something's spreading from there. It has nothing to do with the crown. If you want the crown, you go to the choking mines. If you want to stop the curse, go to the temple.
How are they guarding the temple? And what kinds of magic are they using? Is it...
It's a climb. They hardly need to defend it. They'll pick you off as you make the ascent.
Wasting time.
Yeah, we are.
Are
Looks
they
at
at the
Aghi
top
finally
of
in
the
agreement.
Kovlar.
Yeah.
He points.
So we...
To help Kovlar, I'm inclined to go for the temple first.
Is
Vishumerix
there a
is
way we
just
can
hiding.
bypass all the stairs?
What was that, Aghi?
So Vishumerix is just hiding.
He's in the choking mines. He's a coward. I presume I haven't even seen him. Doesn't mean he's not powerful.
If Vespern and Rune, V, you're good at rooting out cowards, finding people. She will look to King Haral. Give me charge of your grave knights, dead knights.
They're yours.
King says.
We'll take the temple. You guys go get Vishumerix.
Rune is very hesitant. Aghi, I'll be honest. I'm not comfortable just two of us going after Shumerix. We don't know anything about him, other than he has a crown and an army of the starved.
Also,
Whatever they're
there's
called.
going to be magic bullshit going on. You probably want the wizard there.
I honestly think that the three of us, if we're going to do something, we should just focus on one.
If you're listening to fucking Deadmau5, we need to take them both at once.
Given how spread thin we are right now, especially with Sailix and Dorf at Kovlar, I don't think we can.
I can try to steal it.
Rune, I know you like to be fucking organized, have everything figured out, plan things. But we're out of time. We need to do this now. We need to go now.
All right. We'll go to Fish Humerix.
Rune, you should go with Aghi. Your knowledge will be needed there. I can move faster by myself and I can steal the crown.
No. It's bad enough Aghi's going on her own. At the very least, she's got an army of Grave Knights. The last time you went out on your own, the last 2 times that you've been out on your own, it blew up in our face. I'm not letting you do that again.
I was not by myself the last few times, nor was I the one who screwed up.
Okay. No more bickering. We need to go now. Deadmau5, do you have any more useful information?
Just kill him. Quick.
King Harald, you wouldn't happen to have any magic left that would allow us to travel a bit quickly, would you? Maybe a teleport? I know it takes a bit to cast, but...
Takes a bit.
Well, for a lowly
Perhaps you
human...
haven't tried a dwarven incantation.
Teach me.
Quarter mark of a candle. Tops.
He smacks a stone on the floor and begins a process. What you know of the dwarven language is that you can say a lot of things with very few words. What you know of magic is you can say things and magical things happen. Ancient dwarven was very concise. Frustratingly so. It takes a long time to find the right word to say a sentence in a language like Taldan or Common. So, notice quite quickly, he starts creating a spell. Or at least you're creating a spell. You know this spell, and you know this language. Suddenly you found yourself a shortcut. It takes only a minute for him to produce those effects. But in that minute, I will say something happens on the other side of this poor city. Something with Sailix. Now, I re-rolled initiative. The undead here has initiative. Sailix. Do you have a hero point?
I do.
If you would like, I can give you +2 to your initiative for a hero point. That gives you priority over this thing that is crushing you to death. You can hardly move.
Yeah,
If that's
he'll
how you want
take
to
it.
spend your hero point. All right. Well, then you have initiative.
All right.
What do you do?
So, with initiative... Oh, shit. He will... So, where is the the shadow that I had summoned on initiatives?
It is above you, fighting this thing that is crushing you. On the wall here, it was defending the opening, the rift in the wall that protects Kovlar. That wall since busted. So it's just a party spilling over.
Alright, Sailix will shadow step away from, like, underneath of it to a out of its reach.
All right.
Do we have a map?
You
for
do
us,
so.
by the way?
Yeah. Well, you are out of reach. The siege is all over. There's really only one enemy, and it's this massive connected creature. You can't quite hit it, but this shadow illusion is lurching over it, fighting it. I mean, alongside many people. You're at a safe distance. Maybe
With
the
my
roof of a
last,
barracks.
with my last action, I'll drink a potion.
All right. Next on initiative, this thing lurches forward. Waldorff, make a will save for me. As this thing, the presence, it casts a shadow over your men. The fear is tangible.
36.
You succeed. Frightful presence. It's nothing to you, but it attempts that corpse wave again, piling over onto you. A critical hit. $74 points of damage, and now suddenly lashing out, you see several weapons still attached to the body, these corpses, as they fought hundreds of years ago against the orcs. They're still clutching their blades, and as this thing turns over, those weapons whip out towards you, sort of like a spiny creature making an attack. It's a miss, however. It's your turn, Waldorff.
So I am underneath all of these undead, correct?
No, so you're not. You were saved. You were thrown out of the way.
Okay.
Oh, actually, yeah. So you're partially covered. You're not fully. Yeah, it's across your legs and sort of piling on, but you're still standing.
I am going to cast Field of Life underneath myself.
All right.
Which creates a field of positive energy, healing me for 1d8 hit points, and any undead creature that starts its turn in the area takes 1d8 positive damage.
Excellent. Do you have an action left?
I do. I think that he would just start flailing about himself with his hammer and just crushing skulls.
Yeah. Well, you can use that in attack as an attempt to sort of get away from these things. I mean, you have plenty of men looking for leadership. They need direction. They need command. They need a contingency plan because they're being swamped.
I'm torn between wanting to tell them to hold the line and to tactically withdraw to be able to draw them down off the wall into a space that's easier to control.
Right.
I think that the withdrawal would... no, I'm going to hold my ground and I'm going to encourage the men around me to do the same and to stay with me and form up kind of behind me in a wedge with me at the point.
Right.
If we fall,
Excellent.
Kovlar falls.
Aye. That's a good day to die anyway.
The young one before you.
Oh, question before I move on.
Yeah.
Would I have seen? I saw the massive undead fall over top of Sailix, but I would not. Would I have seen him reappear elsewhere, or would I still think he's under?
Looking out, you saw him reappear. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you were looking back at your men trying to plan here.
When he fell initially, the rest of the party that's connected to the telepathic link would hear me scream his name.
Oh.
Wait, say again?
Not good.
When Sailix falls for when the gargantuan mass of undead bodies falls on top of Sailix, through the telepathic link, the rest of the party would hear me scream his name.
Oh, fuck. Well, shit.
All right.
And then the rally after that, and yeah,
Right.
Demon.
All right, and then the battle ensues. Rune, how do you respond to that? Vesper and Aghi, I suppose, as well.
He can. He's floored right now. He's got to focus.
Where to?
Dwarf says.
Lady of Graves, please
Roll.
protect and shelter.
Cast a spell.
The
With his
mines.
hammer. Teleportation circle.
You're not.
Or a middle spot between the mines and the temple, whichever works.
Mine's in the temple. It's dangerous.
This whole thing is fucking dangerous.
We're starting
Send them
from a
somewhere.
point of dangerous.
Send us to the mines. We need speed. Aghi.
You're going to the slag. I'm not taking you to the mines. That's your doom.
Yeah, well,
Let us
I realize that.
let us be the judge of that.
Rune will look at Aghi. One rule. Don't die today. Tomorrow is fine. Not today.
Oh, good thing I don't know what fucking time it is.
It's fair.
Vesperin would grab Aghi's arm for a minute and just look at her and be like, I love you, kid. You better come back to me.
So,
Aghi will just give Bee a kiss on her forehead and is going to stride out of the room to gather the Grave Knights.
so who is going where then?
As a point of note, Rune pulled his hand up as Murakai, his other raven, arrives. And he looks to the raven. Do me a favor. Hello, Aghi. As Murakai, the more feminine of the two ravens, flies over and rests upon Aghi's shoulder.
Mirakai, Aghi.
I will give Rune my other, or one of my dusts of disappearance. Save your spells, wizard. A more practical solution.
How long will it last?
How long does it last?
Dust of disappearance, 10 minutes, I think.
Something like that. Yeah. At least enough time to sneak in there.
So Aghi, Marikai, who else? Where are you going?
We are marching on the temple.
The temple. All right. Rune?
And then
Vesper.
Rune and the Vesprin and Corvus are, I think, making our way to the mines for the Shumeriks. I have such a bad feeling about this.
It's fine.
Just about this? Like, what?
It's fine.
All right. Below,
Split.
in Kovlar, Sailix, Waldorff. You're fighting a losing battle, but I think you both make eye contact at some point. You're thinking about where you are. You're thinking maybe in 3 dimensions, in environments. You've made victories that way, so suddenly it seems like you both have some sort of idea. I mean, obviously this isn't working, and you're about 30 feet from each other, so what do you guys do?
Sailix will yell as he flies down to the ground to a certain spot, and he with working with the Guild of Arms so often over the last few weeks, he tells them to fall back to choke point 1. Zig, we will fall back to choke point 1. We activate the Menador contingency.
Oh,
Nobody knows what you
off.
mean. Waldorff, you know what he means by that. But you don't think anyone else would understand that. That's the most obscure thing you've ever heard in your fucking life.
Yeah, it was definitely like a moment of agreement between Sailix and Waldorff that, like, yes, this is what needs to happen.
Now, yeah, and as you close your eyes, all you can remember about it, of all people, why would this elf understand anything about the Menador contingency? You remember his suite in Citadel Altarian was called the Menador Suite, but you thought it was just a weird coincidence, perhaps, maybe the name of a pet. Now, suddenly it seems like you're both on the same page. What do you do?
I look to the men that have stayed with me, and I tell them to fall back while I stand my ground and cast Divine Vessel, my favorite spell. I grow to a large size and gain a 20-foot fly speed, and I'm trying to hold the undead kind of focused on me so that they don't overwhelm the wall before the contingency can be put in place.
The giant shadow beast is also there helping.
Of course, yeah, in the middle of this field of life, regenerating hit points, and if I keep the undead focused on top of that, they're constantly taking damage from that field of life. And after the last of my men has withdrawn and gotten back down to the choke point, only then would I follow. But I would fly down following Sailix's route.
Midst of this battle, casting wards wherever he can, moving matter. The Abjurer Hramgar, he's the only one here, other than you two, that catches mention of what you've just said. Oh, Get them out. No. Right. You see, this Warsworn, you could count maybe 10 of them piled up on each other as they're moving in to pile over this wall. They're larger than this wall, and this wall's massive. Yeah. Right. Let's go.
Waldorff would lead the way.
Romgar, he moves to the hidden forge down below. You don't have to follow.
It's my forge.
Yeah, it's my job.
Sailix will turn his head to Dorf and he'll be like, "Hey, you're with me now. And your position in the Unforgotten supersedes your position here. I didn't just risk my life to keep your ass alive for nothing."
Waldorf gives like the big belly laugh at that. Like, he thinks that that's the funniest thing he's heard all day. It might be a little bit of gallows humor in there. But yeah, he knows that.
Waldorf, make a reflex save.
Whoever's going down there probably isn't coming back.
It's not enough. Suddenly, latching onto your head, swooping in from above, because these wards have broken. The opening into Kovlar is wide. A deculi nabs onto your head. Teeth beginning to sink in. You can feel the cold as it pushes through the hair. And it doesn't make an attempt to sweep you up. Instead, you can feel it's trying to maybe split your head open, but it's only for a split second until an arrow pierces through it. And the thing, smaller than you in this large form, falls into the pile of bodies. You follow the trajectory. It's your friend Poppy. She's joined this battle. As is half of Kovlar, with her able-bodied men. If that's your cue, take it. Your friends need you. There's nothing to do here in Kovlar. He points
to
the hill of bodies that leads to Sagarak.
Romgar. It's been an honor. I would turn to follow Sailix.
Poppy, do you go with Sailix?
Probably. I mean, she wants to protect the city.
Well, that's great, because Sailix comes up and grabs her as he flies off.
Yeah, your indecision.
Thank you, Sailix.
Cost you.
He'll whisper,
your choice there.
Whisper in her ear.
Rune doesn't know this. That is accurate. That is fully accurate.
Telepathically, Waldorf, you have a chance to explain what is going on, but Romgar actually, for the first time, really smiles at Sailix. You guys did not get along for really the longest time. I'm pretty sure you almost killed one another, but now you have a chance. You head north. Grokar, he's called a full retreat of his men. They move south inwards to turtle within Kovlar as the bodies pile up. They now cover the wall. It's invisible at this point. You really can't see it. The ward's shattered. Skysteel and Sailix in flight. You have no issue navigating over this thing. You head north then?
Yes.
I think I'm
Waldorff.
a little slower than he is.
No, I think we're
Perhaps.
about the same, because I'm encumbered with Poppy.
Oh, right.
There it is. Yep. Now, you have a chance to speak with Rune over the sound of this battle.
I don't know that it would necessarily be in the form of words, but the everybody that's connected to the telepathic link would get images of Sailix in flight, and and seeing that Poppy is with us as well, and just this wash of conflicted emotions just pouring out of Waldorf because he feels like he has failed, even though there was no other choice. It's a mixture of sadness and resolve, but also joy at seeing Salix alive and Poppy with him.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I think words could express.
Can Poppy heal Salix with lay on hands?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, healing is no issue. You're not even really hurt yourself. You had just got into the battle in time to save Waldorf, potentially from a decapitation from a deculi. They're being raided from the air, too, in Kovlar. And as you're headed up, you get enough distance that the sound isn't too jarring. But you know it wasn't only the dead caught in that explosion. It ripples through Sagarak. An eruption, for those of you who don't remember, recent history will tell you about the destruction of Menador Pass, an outpost in Chelish territory. It was a choke point. It's how they kept rule over Kintargo and a trade route. Well, when Kintargo got their freedom, they decided they didn't need a road to Cheliax anymore. They blew up the pass using a well-known self-destruction method. Dwarves like to have a contingency plan if they were assaulted or sieged. Would you imagine that? Typically, you can blow up a forge. Heat and pressure really is the formula. It's quite sacred to dwarves, so they got good at it. A forge is a weapon, and that's why they built it under this wall. Fromgar made his way down. It's pretty trivial to set up the self-destruction, and when it happened, suddenly the battle got a little bit quieter. The wall to Kovlar will be unrecognizable after the dust finally settles and you feel that pressure through your chest as it extends out for miles. Actually, the sound is deafening in a cave system like this. But not to Rune, Vesprin, and Aghi. You're not that close to it. But, Aghi, you're headed then where? The temple?
Yeah, Aghi is leading the Grave Knights to the temple.
Right. Sailix, you're flying north with Waldorff. Where are you headed? Who are you trying to meet?
Well, I don't know at this point. We were just trying to get out of there before it blew up.
Yeah.
I guess I'm waiting for Dorf to let me know where the others are.
Yeah, what's the plan, Waldorff?
Waldorf is strangely quiet as they fly north, kind of heading in the direction of
Rune and Vesprin.
Definitely heading for Rune and Vesprin.
Excellent.
Or at least where he knew they were last.
Yeah, Rune, Vesprin, you've been teleported, correct?
I believe
the spell
so, yeah.
takes you where Haral thought would be safe. The slag. He was right. It's easy to keep tabs on the slag. It's literally in an unimaginably large, flat platform. If there were a threat, it's relatively easy to spot one. Whatever this thing was being built for, they didn't get to because the city fell, but perhaps some sort of religious monument. You arrive sort of on the edge, near the lip where you would make your way down. It's about 100-foot drop, so you would have to take stairs. Speaking to Waldorff, though, and Sailix, it's easy to guide them to you. Go ahead.
Would kind of wordlessly guide Sailix in the right direction without saying anything.
Yeah. Right. Sailix, Poppy, what do you say as you arrive on the platform?
Sitting down on the platform, Salix will kind of set Poppy down gently, and he'll walk over to Dorf, and like he'll take a knee in front of him, and he'll like grab the both sides of his face, and he'll be like, "Look at me."
Well,
right
I'm a
now.
large creature right now. You don't need.
Okay,
to
well then he. All right, so he'll grab Dwarf by both sides of his face, and he'll like look at me right now. He's like, don't get in your head. We got to keep moving, and we can't afford to stop. We can mourn later. But right now, we have to make something of the sacrifice.
Oh, I intend to. And that, like, steely resolve. How long would it take us to get here? Is my spell about to, like, wear off? Because I think it only lasts about a minute.
Also, like,
You would have
Vesper
traveled
I
on
might have made
foot.
it all the way flying. Yeah.
Vesper would,
Yeah, you would have traveled on
flat
foot.
Be like, you know, Aghi is by herself assaulting the temples with the grave knight. So maybe somebody should go with her.
Nah.
You let her go
Aghi,
alone?
Baral is with you.
She's with the grave knight.
Letting is a very loose
she
term.
would, yeah.
Aghi, you're in the telepathic group chat. You can tell them. Haral didn't like being showed up like that. He's opted to take this this leg of the mission with you himself. With the Grave Knights, 100 of them, mind you. Well, about 80. The rest of them are about in the city. Some of them actually approaching the slag because they frequent that road. You can let them know you're in good hands.
Yeah.
But
Aghi just. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Over the telepathic link, she's just like, I fought a fucking war in Cowling. I could take a temple. You get that crown.
But Aghi, suddenly, on that road to the temple, you're near the gate. Actually, you've just gotten out of the gate. The guild district. 2 figures before you. As you make your way out, feline in form, a woman. Dark fur. She's looking at you and holding something wrapped. Looks like paper, perhaps. She's wearing garb like a traveler. She's taken some time to get here. Figure behind you. It's dark. You can't make them out, but go ahead.
Aghi just sort of stands there for a moment confused, since this creature kind of has a look of undeath about them.
They do.
You don't fucking move, you're gonna die too.
I was expecting there to be more of you. And I've already been there. We're here to help you.
You can tell she's holding a painting.
Okay.
She would she would hold the painting and be like,
I believe you... Your father was a student of my master. And she'd very slowly turn the painting around. We're here to help you.
Many recognizable faces, and many you don't. It's a panorama. The painting depicts the warriors at the Battle of Bedariel. Battle Sailix fought. You scan across. We'll cut back to that real soon. Waldorff, up on the slag, you guys are just now figuring out, sorting things together. You've all sort of just arrived here. Waldorff, you notice something behind them as you're all sort of bickering.
Would heft my shield and my hammer and call out. Actually, I would kind of, since Sailix is facing me, I would place a hand on his shoulder and spin him around to face the other direction to see the man that is walking around the platform. And I would call out,
Right.
Hold!
He stops, but he's sort of wobbling. Aghi, as you scan, you see the painting. You don't know what it means, but the man behind Altair, he looks like death itself. A wide-brimmed hat, he's escorting her. There's something eerie and something incredibly cold about him. You scan the painting. It's like they're here to take a soul. Sailix is in the painting, as was the director. Rune is there. The Akuje elves. You remember a lot about this day, but you don't really remember why. It was a story told for years. The story of a war you heard developing as you were fighting your own with many of the people here. The Vesperin isn't here, though. You know, she came in much later. Then you see it. And you didn't remember until just now. A lot of people fought and died in that battle. But you forgot Will was there. Sailix. You're turned at the shoulders. Emerging from what looks to be a shadow because he's dripping from the fluid. It's your brother. Sailix. It was a trap. They used your blood. Gets them through the gate, remember? They waited. Ferris is fine. I got him to safety. Hysteria got me, though. He lifts up his shirt. Black pus. And bulges, boils along his abdomen. Rune, I need a wall of force. I need it now. I don't have a lot of time, and they're making you pay, brother.
Rune begins to quickly start casting.
Waldorff, hold Sailix.
Sailix is trying to get to Will. Like real bad, like he's fighting.
Yeah, am I holding him back? Is that what's going on here?
Oh, you're holding him back. I thought Aghi would be here. You tell her I love her. I love her a lot. And he looks up at
As he's
Sagarak.
talking,
She knows.
This city's fucked. Tell Dawnflower to break the curse. Yeah? Kill Hysteria too. Yeah, one more thing. No, and you see that it starts to spread as the wall of force forms this thing. It's the Shadow Realm. You can't trust it, brother. I never did. She's in the maelstrom. Your
Rune
mother,
just
not mine.
burns at that.
You'll find her there. Suddenly, this wall of force absorbs even the sound as this thing finally completes and makes a full seal. His body explodes so quickly it isn't even violent. Suddenly, the wall painted a clean obsidian black like a shadow. But there's nothing. There's no sound, no violence. You're standing there on the slag, this massive platform. Eventually, that inky black becomes a black smoke, and then it fades to nothing. There's no impact, no cracks. The wall of force can dissolve. There's nothing there. So we're going to end it tonight, guys.
Just picture Waldorff like holding
So-
back a screaming Sailix.
Oh yeah, he's screaming, he's thrashing, he's threatening every one of you.
Just quiet.
Aghi is oblivious to this, except perhaps telepathically. Maybe she's heard something. You're with Horal, Altair, and the Pale Stranger. Seems they have some sort of mission, but it's weird the way she fixated on Will there in the painting. But that is where we're going to end off tonight, guys. So, thank you for watching. It's not always this sad, and it's almost also never this sad. But we are picking up pretty much exactly where we left off. Next week, I love all of you. I'm so sorry. Let's do our outros because I have 5 minutes to live. Starting with Jen.
Hi, I'm Jen. I played the Vesperin tonight as well as Altair, very briefly. You can find me on the internet as at Savage Sparrow, savagesparrow.com. I am still running the virtual HorrorCon sale for at least another couple of hours. Enter code VHC2021 and you get 15% off everything, as well as a free Movie Magic Witch sticker. Super cute.
Dr. Mr. Smith.
Hello, I am the shocked Dr. Mr. Smith. I played Rune Ravenswood, the egotistical wizard this evening. And for those who don't quite understand the impact of what just happened, I feel we'll need to do some exposition maybe as a preamble for the next game. Wow.
Yeah. I think we will. James.
Hi, I'm or bye. Wow, that was. I kind of just got acquainted with the character of Will today, actually. So I am at James R. Glass on Twitter. I don't have much other social media presence than that, and you can find me here from time to time, Sunday nights with this crew. Don't forget to check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/pennyforatale. Penny for a Tale over on YouTube. Give us a like and a subscribe, and yeah, come back and find out what happens next week. This is the first time I've ever cried over a role-playing game.
Whoops.
Get ready. This fucking game.
Wow.
Daniel.
Just wow.
I don't even want to talk to you right now, man. I don't want to talk to you right now. Hi guys, I'm Daniel. I played Sailix, who just watched his baby brother that he raised explode in front of his eyes. Yeah, so that's great. I got nothing.
Sam.
You can watch other videos to figure out who I am. I never cried over a TTRPG. Oh my god. Yeah. Goodbye.
All right, and I've been Ian, the GM. Well, so I've started a war. If you want to see what happens, we're sort of reaching that final arc where things just get a lot more violent, sort of like the last lap of Mario Kart, where the sounds get really weird. You're looking out for bullets, and you really have no idea what's going to happen. So for the next couple of weeks, we will be wrapping up Book 4, real violent style. The party is split, but it's happens to be split into 2 parties. I'll have more on that later, but for now, all you need to know is we are sponsored by Fantasy Grounds. Smiteworks. They made Fantasy Grounds Unity. It's the virtual tabletop you see with all of the beautiful, wonderful images. If you're interested, go to fantasygrounds.com. Also sponsored by the Only Sheet, Excel-based character management and planning tool. Go to theonlysheet.com if you have Excel and you're interested in automating some things with character creation. And then our music tonight was Michael Gelfi and Rock Narden. That's all I have. Thank you for watching. We will be back next week. Good night.